And starting, at least as I mean to go on, there's not an awful lot to say about American Utopia, so I won't belabor this too much. It's a Spike Lee directed capture of David Byrne's stage show / album tour for his American Utopia album, with a good number of classic Talking Heads tunes interspersed throughout. As such, I suppose how much you enjoy this will depend on how much you like David Byrne and Talking Heads. Thankfully, I like them a lot, so I like this a lot. To be critical, as a stage show, it's perfectly engaging, with some interesting choreography for a live band, but to be honest, it's not adding a lot more than just listening to the album on Spotify. It's a straightforward recording, really, so not a Spike Lee joint in any meaningful sense, so don't go expecting a huge amount of flourishes in the visuals. But that really is to be expected, given the nature of it, and does not detract from the enjoyable performance of enjoyable tunes. Two far more critical criticisms. There's one dancer / backup singer that is, as again I suppose should be expected, playing very much to the back of the house, which unfortunately on film comes across as wild mugging and gurning. And more worryingly, from a health perspective, and I know the Rona has consumed a lot of mind share in the prevention narrative of late, but let's not forget the horrors wrought by verrucas in athlete's foot. By which I mean, for the love of God, someone get these people some socks. Christmas is coming up, just saying. Yes, I liked it, but I like David Byrne Talking Heads, so I suppose I would do. Yeah.
Do you refer to the Ginger Man, Scott?
That's the one, yes.
Yes. To be fair, he didn't bother me.
Cool.
I can see how he could be a bit over the top.
He's a bit much. Yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed American Utopia. Similar, a lot of what I'll be saying in response to you, Scott, is what you've already said, but I like Talking Heads. And I like David Byrne, so it's no great surprise that I enjoyed American Utopia. But, and again, you've touched on this, I only became aware of this film because it's a Spike Lee film. And I only watched it, in truth, because it's a Spike Lee film. But I am left with the question, in which way is this a Spike Lee film? And it's shot competently, certainly, including a number of interesting angles that you wouldn't see simply by being in the audience in the theatre. But I'm sure there must be an entire industry of people who film stage shows and concerts, many of whom could have produced this, and the look and feel of the American Utopia show on stage would have been dictated by David Byrne and his production designer, right? So I recommend watching it. The music is great, it's really entertaining. But with the exception of one particular section, I don't detect Spike Lee's stamp on this anywhere. Very odd.
Well, yeah. I too like David Byrne and I too like Talking Heads, but I have not seen American Utopia, so I have been bothered by precisely 0 ginger people recently.
Just me.
I haven't spoken to either of you guys for a couple of months, so you haven't bothered me for a while, Scott. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's just not a Spike Lee film, though, is it, Scott? That's the weird thing.
No, it's a Spike Lee joint, Drew.
Yes.
I mean, Spike Lee has filmed a couple of stage shows before that I haven't actually got around to checking out yet. They'd be on my list. But I wonder if, it's like this, there was just someone competent to point the cameras in the right place. I don't see how this is a Spike Lee film.
No, there's not a lot of artistry on the capture of it. They've pointed some cameras at the stage and they've got one overhead for a few shots, and it doesn't scream like it was requiring a lot of direction as much as it may have done just some editing later on. It is not really a Spike Lee film in any meaningful sense, but it's still enjoyable enough, so c'est la vie.